only transmit over 25 milliwatts with a ham radio license on your VTX. That's correct, right? Uh, what is the? Do you know the license you need to have?
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a tech.
technician's license.
Cool. Alrighty.
A
I
first level license.
Yep, I have my technician license going for my general soon, so I was just making sure. Didn't know if I needed to have anything
No,
other
that'll
than
do
that.
it. And then both of them allow you to transmit up to 1 watt.
Okay.
And you need that license whether you're at 25 or anything really. There's nothing magical about the 25 milliwatts. All of our VTXs require a ham technician's license to operate them legally in the U.S.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that, so I guess now I can get on to people about it.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I know there are a lot of people who don't, and I didn't know that you actually had to have or were supposed to have one for 25.
Did you
Yeah,
you
to
must have
operate
already
more.
had your license for some other reason?
Yep,
Cool.
I got
Excellent.
it before, and just heard about it a couple of times here and there, and I was like, oh, I guess I might ask about it.
Always good to have.
The
Oh yeah,
Alright.
natural
Go ahead.
is that a natural imaginary a natural log raised to an imaginary pi plus 1 equals 0? Oh, E. Okay. Don't
Dave
know what
always
E.
likes to translate Alex's shirts here.
What's E? It's not C. It's not energy.
Euler's number.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Alex always with the clever shirts.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. So first off, thanks for joining. My name is Josh or Cujo. We got Dave, we got Alex, and we've got Dan. So we just wanted to get together. We recap and do a little recap on Dave and I's time at Flite Fest, which was a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know, Flite Fest is a 4-day event that Flite Test puts on. We were invited to come out by Josh Bixler and Lee Katchner, and we just had a blast. We set up 2 FPV sections at the event. One was with race gates, and the other side was kind of freestyle open FPV fly. And we think it was a pretty good success. We had some great feedback from the people who were flying FPV. We kept it pretty calm, and we really didn't have many issues. Cool part is everybody got sent down to Dave and I to get their VTXs checked. Made sure everybody was on the right channels, on the right power, and sent them off to have fun. And the other cool part is we spent the better part of 4 days really helping kids and adults with their quads and their FPV that they were, FPV rigs that they were applying to some of their fixed wings and getting them up in the air. And some really good success stories that came out of it. We had one gentleman, Nathan, I believe his name was. He had purchased a quad from the previous Flite Fest and spent a year trying to get it to function. And Dave and I spent the better part of 3 hours with him, kind of tag teaming it, finding issues, getting them resolved one by one, and getting him to fly his first quadcopter flight. And the dude was awesome. I will say he had practice on simulators, and his first flight was just awesome. We were able to witness it, and he was super happy. And we just had a lot of fun talking to people about drones, helping them with their projects, and then getting to see what they were doing with them.
Simulators do work.
They do, actually. And I was actually talking to a gentleman today at work about, he had a little bit of experience crashing drones, but not actually flying them. And I
Hopefully
was
not too much experience crashing.
So I was talking to him about some simulators and kind of getting him schooled on what he needs to do to actually get up in the air and have some fun. So um, it was definitely a gift to be able to be out there and participate in that. There was some amazing things that we saw. Um, First of which was the 3 time a day combat that they ran, uh, where people would spend hours building and then instantly throw what they just finished building, or sometimes didn't quite finish building, in the air to do combat with other people's airplanes. And uh, there were times where there were 150, 200 planes in the air at once, and it's amazing to see how hard it is to actually hit another airplane in the air, including some bigger airplanes. I mean, some of these airplanes at the event were very large.
Did some people build
Uh,
like purposely large
mhm.
targets for people to hit?
Absolutely, and then other people would build large planes with like barbecue skewers all over the wings and fuselage, so that they had a better chance of actually hitting something. So it was really cool. And Greg and his team from Pilot Institute were out there, and we were talking. And one of the key points that he brought up is, everybody's always so worried about a UAS or a drone hitting something in the air, and when you're actually trying to do it, it's a lot harder than you think it is. So it's pretty impressive.
Do you have any
So
pictures you can share or anything?
let's see. I'd have to transfer them over real quick, but maybe as somebody else is talking, I will share some. I've got a couple of
Yeah, Dave, what do you have to add about Flite Fest?
Well, it was great, because they don't let me out much, so it was really good to be out and among people.
Yeah, that
Uh,
speaks to what you were talking about earlier about the SPF 50 and reapplying it while you're outside. If you don't get
yeah,
out
it's
much.
important. That's right. You work inside and remotely for 20 years, it sort of catches up with you. But it was fantastic. It really was brought home to this is why we're working on regulations for people to ignore, and not worry about it, regulations and fly and have a great time. It was positive, it was inclusive, and the atmosphere was just infectious. And really, aviation was secondary to the people and the relationships. It was just fun and kids and adult kids. And the range of the age of pilots were from about 4-ish to octogenarians. So it was quite a range, and everyone was just laughing and having a good time. So um, there was in addition to Pilot Institute, VAS, Alex Greaves' firm, Video Aerial Systems, I think,
Yep.
Was there. Horizon Hobby was there as well. Also,
FR
Flight
Sky.
FR Sky was there, and Flite Test had a great supply of foam to and hot glue to patch things together when folks crashed, and it was fun. And it was about they figure about 2,000 pilots, so one of if not the largest RC event. We also carefully separated the FPV quadcopters from fixed wing to try to keep the tensions down, and there were no scuffles. There was a couple of folks we needed to remind not to plug in and where to fly, but very respectful, and no tempers flared. So it was that was great. And Josh found an aircraft that we were hunting for in the soybeans for an hour and a half. And it was a 1 meter yellow airplane, a disc launched glider.
Doesn't
And
sound
the
like a hard thing to
owner
find in a field.
Dave was out
didn't
there.
you
Honestly, he was
you
out there for a long time.
But
you
you didn't
wouldn't
And
send
think
a
so.
Mavic up with the
I did.
camera
I
pointed
sent my
down,
I
scanning.
sent my DJI FPV up, and I was like way out looking for it. Couldn't find it. And then I I ran out of juice on the DJI FPV, so I went out there and I started humping through the soybeans and finally found it. Actually, another guy that was flying crashed his plane, so I walked over to grab his and hand it to him, and literally right at my feet was the disc launch glider, or discus launch glider.
And there
Did
we
it have
had
the
a
video
we,
transmitter powered on?
No, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't
Oh,
FPV.
okay.
It
no
was
power, no
no.
motor, all just throw it in the air. It was a sailplane that's thrown like a discus. And so
Okay.
Josh was another search and rescue hero. This was great. Guy walks in into our tent, our build tent, and says, "Is Jason there?" We're like, "Don't see Jason." I don't know. Well, I was hoping that they could get a drone up and look for my plane. I've been looking for it, and it's out there. Okay, well, we can bring a drone up. Where is it? Well, it's in the field. Okay, the field is like a half mile. It's huge. So we say, where were you when you were flying? I don't know. Well, what direction were you flying? I don't know. So we were able to establish a vector. We get out to the flight line. Josh brings up a DJI drone, flies way to the back of the field. Josh looks over at him and says, "What color is your plane?" Guy says, "Orange." He says, "Does it say Orange Crush on the wing?" Whoa, you found it! You found it! Oh my gosh! He was he transformed from curmudgeon to excited old guy in about a nanosecond. It was fun. He was very appreciative.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Fun.
So we got to experience a whole gamut of stuff, from helping people with their quads to doing some minor search and rescue. It was definitely a fun time. And we also got to go back to Flight Test headquarters and check that out. That was really amazing. They've got a great.
Yeah, what'd you think of the FPV Freedom Coalition sign that they put up on the wall there?
Yep, it's really awesome. It's good to be up on the wall there for sure. It's great to work with them. They're great people, and we look forward to doing some more. In fact, Dave and I have established some plans for some ultimate combat wings that we're going to start developing here. So
Well, I know
we also had a number of people come up to us through the weekend. FPVFC. Oh, I know you guys. So
Cool.
that was good. It was not a third. I did not expect this group to. Which that was Alex. That was your breakdown at Rampage from last year, I believe. But it was a surprising number of people knew about us, and happily it was mostly from the FTCA, the Flight Test Community Association, YouTube live streams.
So I know this
So
wasn't
was
really
positive.
the purpose of us being there, but did many people ask you about regulations or complain about remote ID or talk about stuff like that while you're there?
a little bit. It wasn't as heavy as I thought it would be, to be honest. I think a lot of what Flight Test does is in the STEM field, and I think there's still a lot of uncertain, or maybe not uncertainty, but uninformed around some of the remote ID stuff that's going to be coming up. And so we did talk to a couple people, especially some of the actual quad pilots that were there, that kind of thing. But there wasn't as much as I thought there would be. So we talked a little bit with Jesse Perkins about it, and a couple other quad pilots. So
Everyone was asking me about the UAS aviation safety report system and what we could do to improve it. Just kidding.
Wait, people there went through the hour-long survey
I was
for all those
I was,
combat flights.
He was
I
joking.
was on a DST call today, and they asked, "So, did you tell people about UAS ASRS?" And I said, "No, this is all proprietary information."
You know, the
there
funny
are
thing
three-
is, next time we go, we should have a way for people to file combat reports after
That
combat
line.
and just completely slam the system. Just have a station with like 15 laptops.
And did
Well,
you
they
check to
can
make
just
sure
put it on
everybody
their
had
phone.
passed their trust and had their documentation on them.
Well, since we're not the
What's
FAA,
So
we
two
did-
things:
we
we're
did
not the
talk-
police,
we did-
and we're not the
we did
FAA.
talk up trust. We said it
Mhm.
was a, you can't fail it, so it's really not that hard. And there were a number of people like, yeah, so the technical sophistication of most of the people there was way beyond the trust. So
Mhm.
that's a positive.
So definitely a good
So
time.
good.
We had a blast.
I assume
and,
Flite Test is working on videos that'll come out eventually, and
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, Dave and I got to participate in a little bit of filming. That was pretty cool. So they flew their big, was it a B-17?
B-17.
And
20-foot wingspan B-17.
yeah, it was huge. And the crazy thing with this B-17 was how quiet it was. 4 big motors, 4 big wooden propellers, and the thing was almost whisper quiet. It was really cool.
I'm
But
telling people I was part of the flight crew. I mean, I don't know.
so we got to
Of
film.
which one?
So we
What's
got
that?
to what's that, Alex?
I was just saying to Dave of which one. What time frame?
So we got to one of the things they did is they did a mock battle in which they flew a couple of German planes behind it trying to shoot it down, and they had installed remote controlled kind of turrets on the they had a upper turret and they had a ball turret underneath, and they had rigged it so you could control the turrets from joysticks on the ground with some FPV monitors that we had set up. And Dave and I got to record the turret cam. So I did the top turret, and I think Dave did the ball turret.
Belly
So
turret. Yep.
so we recorded those in our goggles so that they could utilize that footage if they so choose. So that was super fun to be involved.
So I'm expecting attribution in the credits.
It was fun for me just to be able to participate. So, but all in all, a great event. It was good to get out and hang out with everybody at Flite Fest, and look forward to doing it again next year. So, yeah, that's all I've got on that. Dave, anything else to add?
No, that was it. That was great.
So I do have a couple quick articles that I'm going to run through here. Just some neat stuff that I came across. Let me post some links here so you can at least. So this is actually really neat. So Zipline, we've talked about them many times. They are working. They work during the pandemic to deliver vaccines, and especially in places like Africa. And they utilize a fixed wing system that launch off catapults, and they have a parachute-based drop. And then the UAV will then turn around and get caught on a hook, much like an aircraft carrier, but it's suspended in the air. Cool thing is they have developed a acoustic detection for avoiding, basically detect and avoid. So this works on a 2,000 meter range, and it is using acoustic microphones and onboard processors to detect planes, helicopters, any kind of obstacle that's in the airspace, and then make changes to its flight path to accommodate. So this is in lieu of.
Can I say that it sounds batty?
What's that?
Can I say that it sounds batty?
Why?
echolocation.
Echolocation. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha. It took me a second on that.
But doesn't that mean that it sends out a sound waiting for a response, where this
That
is
was
just
Like sonar.
listening?
So this sounds like totally passive.
Yeah.
I agree, Alex.
So it's not batty at all.
So it says it's lightweight and doesn't require any ground-based processing, radar, anything like that. It's all established on the airframe itself. Existing detection and avoidance technologies rely on bulky or ground-based systems for optical or electromagnetic awareness, which are not optimal for scaling small, long-range drone operations. Zipline's acoustic-based system combines the lightweight, affordable hardware needed for autonomous drones with precision mandated by regulators for combat.
So here's a crazy idea. Invite Zipline to next year's Flite Fest and see if they can have their autonomous drone be avoid all of the planes flying around.
That would be unique.
I'd love that. That would be a lot
But
of
it's
fun.
probably designed to tune out the noise from model aircraft because it is basically a model aircraft size.
I assume it's trying to
and it
avoid
sound like itself.
manned crewed aircraft.
Exactly.
But hey, if they could dodge all of the drones trying to take it out of the sky, that'd be cool to see.
Hey,
That would
it's a
be
great
I love-
case study,
I
right?
like the way you think. That'd be great PR for them as well.
Yeah, so this is
Okay.
super unique. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so we've got
ring up our friends at Zipline.
yeah.
Hey, could you send us a sample of your acoustic?
Put it in that
I just
like
the
B-17
catapult
bomber.
I'm sure it's only $15,000 or so a rig.
So 4 new drones have been added to the government-approved Blue UAS list.
So you want to explain a little bit more what the Blue UAS list is?
Yeah, so the Blue UAS list is approved drones for use in government sectors. So this would be anything government related or government funded. And they so this came about as a when the government started banning DJI as a use for any kind of government use. So we've got the X2D by Skydio currently, the Ion M44 by FLIR, the Anafi USA GovMil by Parrot, the Golden Eagle by Teal Drones, and the Vesper by Vantage Robotics. The new drones are the Wingtra 1 by Wingtra, Spirit by Ascent Aero Systems, the EB TAC by SenseFly, and Alta X by FreeFly Systems.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
I don't think I've
let's
heard of
see,
most of those companies before.
Yeah. Do
I've heard
do
of
you
Alta
recognize
and
any,
FreeFlight.
Katie?
There.
Do you know where they're located,
surprising.
Alex?
They're around Pittsburgh, I thought, right?
I
Not
don't know.
Pittsburgh. I mean Philadelphia. They're Philadelphia based, or well, Philadelphia and South Jersey.
Cool.
So the 4 drones, you can kind of see we've got the Alta X right here. Standard quadcopter looks like with a pretty sizable rig for
Yeah, it
taking
carries
pictures.
red. It carries they use it for movie production.
And then we've got the Wingtra 1, and they kind of break these down a little further. This one's really cool, the Spirit drone, which is pretty tiny. So let's see, we've got the Wingtra 1. It's got a 59-minute flight time with payload. It's a vertical takeoff and landing. Can fly in winds of up to 27 miles and gusts up to 40 miles an hour, and is optimized for surveying and mapping missions. It's
No
also got
FPV freestyle drones on their list?
No, not yet. Let's see. We've got the Spirit, which is all-weather capability, coaxial configuration. It has 10 pounds available for batteries and payload. Has a top speed of over 60 miles an hour, and can use a variety of sensors. We've got the SenseFly. I thought this one was pretty cool. It's got a maximum flight time of 90 minutes and a range of 34 miles. Weighs just over 3.5 pounds, and is designed for stealth. So, What are we gonna use?
Well, it already
that?
has a small cross-sectional area, so
Right.
pretty much anything this size is stealth.
Well, it can also fly in silent mission mode, so I'm assuming that's kind of like a glide and fly kind of thing, where it's just spinning the motor just enough to provide lift. And camera options include RGB, 3D, and multispectral and thermal payloads.
They could make
So,
that into an FPV wing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's see, the last one is the Alta X. So it's all electric, VTOL capability, 35 pounds of usable payload capacity, folds down to half its deployed size, and accommodates a variety of integrated sensors and third-party payloads. As EO, help me out, Alex, with that one. I can't remember. IR, survey grade mapping cameras, LiDAR, hyperspectral sensors, and drop delivery. So pretty cool. All right. Got this. This was pretty neat. This is Skypersonic. Which, yes, is a Red Cat company. They successfully completed the world's first transcontinental drone inspection, relying only on an internet connection from a mobile phone. So Drew Camden of Rotor Riot piloted a drone in a let's see, utility plant in Turin, Italy. So he was in Florida. The plant was in Turin, Italy. He had never seen the plant or visited, and he was able to fly with, I believe it was 68 milliseconds of latency from across the ocean. So, pretty cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's hard to get only 68 milliseconds of latency with any kind of internet connection from here to there.
And to be able to do it with a mobile phone, it's pretty unique too. So,
well, it's a good thing it looks like they were indoors, so they didn't have to worry about cross transatlantic FAA and whatever regulations they have in Italy.
Well,
it's a little bit BVLOS.
Yeah, just a smidge. But I mean, the actual drone wasn't in American airspace, so
Yeah, like how I don't know how that works. Even if you're just near a border, how that works. But
yep. So
break one of their regulations. You're in a different country already, so you don't have to flee.
So the possibilities, of course, it goes on to say the possibilities, of course, are enormous for this advanced yet easy to use and extremely portable remote piloting technology. It's a great way to be able to do just about anything in terms of inspection or anything like that. So we'll need to see advanced BVLOS rules before this is going to roll out, obviously, in the United States, but the capabilities are coming along nicely.
Well, as long as they keep it indoor inspections, it's no big deal.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so this I thought was interesting, and it took me a little bit to kind of comprehend what was going on in this. So I'll try and explain it the best I can, because I was trying to figure out what 4D printing, composite printing was. So, bear with me here. So, the whole gist of this is, from what I can tell, they're using 3D printing to print a material, and then they're able to apply a stimulus, let's say an electrical impulse, to that material, and the material changes shape. And that's what the fourth dimension is. So it's a 3D print with a capability of being able to change shape from a stimulus. So the best way that I can put this is, if you remember in Batman, the Christopher Nolan Batmans, where he had the cape and he would apply electrical charge to the cape and it would change shape. Okay, so it's a kind of like a memory material, essentially. So they're utilizing this to change the shape of a wing to eliminate the, let's say, aileron, or for the plane to be able to turn. So instead of a hinged aileron, it's almost like a metamaterial that can change shape. Pretty cool, I thought. I thought that was really unique. So the research is being done at Concordia University in Montreal, Canada, and they're using composite materials to develop the new wing, which would be applicable in certain types of UAVs and provide an improved wing design cost effectively. So it uses the initial printing is done on a flat surface that is then exposed to the stimulus, which causes a reaction and changes the shape of the surface of the printed object. So instead of using a soft substance typically used in 3D printing, it relies on a combination of long, fine filaments that are held in place by a resin. Each filament is only 10 microns thick, which is about 1/10 the diameter of a human hair. And they apply these in kind of a overlapping material process. So you got filaments facing one direction, you got other filaments facing another direction. And from what I gather, and I'm kind of reading between the lines here, is the way that those are put together determines somewhat of the shape that the material can shift into. So, and pretty neat little process.
So
I thought that
theoretically,
was
you could
cool.
like have an FPV wing that had no servos, because
Mhm.
just a little bit of electricity would cause the right shape on the wing that would allow you to turn
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah, and they don't go into detail of what the stimulus is, but to me, an electric charge seems to be the easiest. That's the first thing that comes to
Mm-hmm.
mind. So I just thought that was really unique in terms of making things simpler while making them more complex. In terms of having something that maybe won't break as easily.
Well,
Yeah,
next
lower
thing
parts count. Very cool.
next thing you know, Alex is going to start redesigning his drone racing frame so that it changes shape mid-flight
Yeah, it goes
to go
from
around your
a
course
true
better.
X to a to a stretch
already
X.
working on. I'm already working on redesigning it, but
That's awesome.
I don't know about changing shape mid-flight. Well, I guess actually, technically, it would do that if I crashed hard enough.
Oh, there you go.
Just in the crash.
I just wouldn't be able to get it back to the original shape necessarily.
It's just a strategic crash in the other direction.
Yep.
That's pretty funny. All right, so one last thing I have: the FCC has been investigating counter unmanned aircraft companies. So, this
And
comes
we
from.
all in unison. Aww.
I know, I'm so upset. So this comes from Jonathan Ruprecht.
And he's
Let's see.
the lawyer working with race day quads, right?
He is, yes.
Yes.
Which
So
we haven't heard anything about that lately yet either.
no, we sure haven't, and I'm kind of interested to see what comes to that for sure. So they discovered that the FCC has been sending letters of inquiry to counter unmanned aircraft companies. To date, we have obtained a total of 8 of these letters of intent, or LOIs. 7 are to business entities and 1 to a person. An LOI is an order of the commission to produce the documents and information requested. So these investigations have something to do with radio communications and the marketing and operations of radio frequency devices within the United States. They're requesting a laundry list of informations and documents from the targets. They were heavily redacted so as to prevent us from gleaning intel on the FCC investigation techniques. However, we did learn that FCC asked the target to identify FCC registration numbers, trade names of radio frequency devices marketed for sale or lease in the United States, and whether intentional radio frequency transmitters had been tested and authorized or not. So the targets have 30 calendar days and require highly specific affidavits from authorized corporate officers verifying the truth and accuracy of the information. So that's not to say that, these companies are on the verge of getting shut down or anything like that. It's just FCC requesting information. But we'll see what happens with this, because we know the FCC is pretty strict in terms of radio transmissions, and especially when it comes to jamming signals and whatnot. So that'll be pretty interesting. So, Dave, I'll let you kind of talk about this, but the Advanced Aviation Advisory Committee, formerly the DAC, now the AAC.
Yeah, how long do we have
will
to
be
keep
meeting-
saying formerly the DAC?
Yeah, well, you know, it's honestly,
Just
it's
as
hard.
long as we say
Mhm.
the musician formerly known as Prince.
Right. So, I mean, here's the hard part: is it was the Drone Advisory Committee, and that's what people know it as. And if we say the Advanced Aviation Advisory Committee, it feels like it doesn't have a lot to do with UAS anymore. And well, that's not the case. To me, the Drone Advisory Committee, you know, it was a little more well-rounded of a term and a little more specific. But I know they're trying to rope in advanced air mobility and whatnot into it. But
Yeah.
you know,
The important thing is that they are
Um,
having a meeting tomorrow.
yes,
Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern till 2:30 Eastern, and there was a little ray of hope under the new business and potential FAA tasking recommendations, and that's good. The not so good is that the response to TG12, Tasking Group 12, which was about STEM and education, I would characterize as sleeves from their vest. So they pointed to all the things that they are the FAA responded to the TG12, the education and STEM project that we worked on, both Alex and I, and FAA pointed to all of the FAA programs they're working on and said that they are also working on a larger, grander project. But there were very, very, very few commitments about this is what we will do as opposed to this is what we're doing already. There are also no vacancies filled, so I think there are 6 opens, and none of those are filled. And there are no new official taskings, to my knowledge, at least not in the chart set that was on the document that Josh
I didn't
is
see any
sharing.
either.
So, on the of note under the slides on which are at least the page numbers are 88 and 89, there are 6 bullets, and 3 of them came from us. So that's cool. That says that we're listened to and respected. That's awfully nice. Also, Vic Moss has brought up one, and this is important to all of us. UASAAM operator security. So Vic has brought to the attention of the AAC, and we jumped on and supported the notion that we are there are situations where pilots and operators are being assaulted or abused or harassed, and or aircraft are being shot out of the sky. And to date, the FAA has done very little to advocate the position that shooting an aircraft out of the sky is a felony. And they've also done nothing to officially identify UAS flight crew as official aircraft flight crew, which would sweep us under the benefit of assault would become a felony assault. So it would be good things for us, and happily it's being taken seriously by the chair of the AAC, Houston Mills, so our thanks to him. And one of the priorities tasks remaining for the FAA Reauthorization Act, that was submitted by us. What can we do to speed rulemaking process? That was ours. And then the what can we do to accelerate short-term BVLOS ARC recommendations? That came from us as well. So we're being listened to, and that's nice.
absolutely. And Alex, you're gonna be there, right?
Yes, I will be there, and I will be bringing some tiny hawks that were provided by Emacs to get some of those ACK members to actually fly a drone, because several of them have never flown a drone before. I would
That's
dare say
great.
most of them have never flown a drone before, and I'd be willing to bet money on that.
Yeah, I would
Yay.
too. And I think that's going to be awesome. Please
So
take some great photos. Take some good video.
You got
we'll
the
fly them.
FPVFC stickers on something there yet?
Not yet. I was in the middle of working on testing this stuff, and then it became 9 o'clock, and I got a text message.
Somebody said you should be in this meeting, huh?
Yep.
It was polite.
Yeah.
So
That's good. We're also working on the DST, and that's around ASRS, and so that's going to take a while. This is a very different group of people than we're accustomed to working with. So it's a lot of aviation legacy folks, and change is bad. So we don't want to change anything. So
Well, I really hope things
it'll,
go well with getting
get there.
the DAC members under some goggles, or the AAC members under some FPV goggles. And I know people have been asking for them to do that for a very long time. So if there's any way we can sort of prove to the community that it's happening, that would be awesome.
yeah, absolutely.
And maybe we'll even get Jay Merkel to go under goggles too.
You know,
and
that would
fly.
be a
Yeah.
win for sure. So
That'd be good.
Yep.
And I know you'll get support from Vic and Vic Moss and Kenji Sugahara, both DAC members. So that's goodness.
So definitely cool, and definitely something that we look forward to hearing about next meeting. So, Dan, you got anything for us, sir?
Let's see. I don't really have anything. Oh, I was gonna ask what people's thoughts were. Did anybody watch last week's Beyond Visual Line of Sight lives? Well, what did they call it? The meeting where the FAA
Public.
went, the public meeting where they went like let
Q&A.
people complain about the Beyond Visual Line of Sight ARC. And well, one person didn't complain, but most of them were all complaining about it.
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
It was on the 22nd, I think, at like 5:30 Eastern. I
Correct.
was not able to attend, but I'd be interested in any feedback.
Let's
Yeah, what did you notice?
I
Dan?
briefly watched. I couldn't watch it live, but I did watch the replay. The Beyond Visual Line of Sight ARC listening. Oops. Listening session. Yeah. And let me see if I can grab this link here, and I'll put it in the paste it. If you watch it at like 1.5 times speed, it only takes you like 30 minutes to watch the whole thing. But it's kind of like what you would expect. People representing various levels of crewed aircraft were complaining that the Beyond Visual Line of Sight ARC doesn't know what they're talking about, and that drones are going to take manned aircraft out of the sky.
We should invite them to Flite Test. Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
talking like there was somebody representing like crop dusters and saying that how many flights they have and how low they fly, and that they're going to hit drones flying around, and based on that study that airplanes are going to drop out of the sky because they cause severe damage and all kinds of stuff.
not
We'll
that
just replace the crop dusters with a drone.
I was
Simple.
gonna say, it's like I didn't want to say go get a Tesla, but
they're
you might
fighting
wanna go
for
get
their
a drone
jobs.
right, but what's to say that they can't do the same job faster and more efficiently with a drone? And
it's unfortunate that the ag organization took that position, because they've participated in 2 or 3 tasking groups that I've been on, and they've been really open-minded. Things like, we will require ADSB out for all of our aircraft if there's any type of popular movement to have ADSB in on drones, on UAS. So to take the sky is falling is a very unfortunate approach. I assume it was an AAAA, 4 A's person. That's would be the
don't remember
Agricultural
specifically.
Aviation Aircraft Association or something such.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was like the same group of people that were in those meetings, or if it was somebody else representing a different group of people like that. But yeah, you should definitely take a watch of take a look at that video, Dave, and see what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to watch that. That'd be interesting, because I know a lot of, on our side, in terms of our industry, everybody's pushing for them to accept it. And there's a lot of interesting topics in there, including things that are important to us, like shielded operations, right? So And it's something that I was actually talking to one of my coworkers with, because we have an event coming up, and they're like, "Oh, can you put up one of your drones and get some drone shots?" And I said, "Actually, no, I can't, because we're in a zero field, and I can't fly right here." But then you start talking about shielded operations, and as long as I'm flying below the building ridge line and that kind of stuff, if that would take effect, I would be with 100% within my right to fly there. So stuff like that can be a little frustrating, and so we'll see what happens with it. But I feel like they need to kind of move along, as well as I feel like they need to move along with a lot of things, including CBOs. Still not salty about it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, and moving a lot faster. It's now, I believe, more and more strongly that we're losing pace to the rest of the world because
Absolutely.
our regulatory inhibitors, and that's not something I'm accustomed to. It's certainly in global tech.
We are the
could usually
trendsetters.
move a little. Usually move a little more quickly.
Yeah, and so I don't know, what's going on at the FAA in terms of the UAS integration office, but we definitely need to see some faster traction on some of this stuff. I mean, we're nearing the next reauthorization. We haven't resolved issues from the current one, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
Is that normal?
Like there's some. Yeah, apparently it is.
I mean, to be honest, I've
mandates
only been
don't
in
get
this
completed
regulation
within the
field.
5 years.
Yeah, so I mean, I've only been in the regulatory field since this last reauthorization, so I couldn't tell you if they've completed everything in past ones. It's definitely a problem for our industry.
Well, I'm sure in Dave's previous life, if somebody working for him was given a task and had 5 years to do it and didn't make any progress on it, they wouldn't still be around.
Like they would have waited 5 years?
Not 5 years.
In my world, if you don't meet the deadline, that's that.
Yep.
So
usually 1 or 2 quarters.
Yeah,
that was
so
the tolerance.
we gotta get they gotta, well, it's not we, because we're not the FAA, but they gotta get moving. So
Oh, that reminds me. Did you have Rob Lowe at the Flite Fest, and how did that go?
No, he was not able to make it.
Oh, that's
he had a
unfortunate.
personal situation pop up. Yeah, it was. We were really looking forward to having him, but next time, would be great, and maybe we can get him on a podcast or something. That would be cool too. So hope everything's fine with him, and but yeah, that was a little frustrating, but it was great to have the folks that we did have there. Greg from Pilot Institute. We had Jesse Perkins. We had
and most of his team. Yeah, Greg,
exactly.
Greg brought out. It was a great showing and flew his big octocopter and had a booth. And it was well received.
Does anybody know if Greg is at all interested in applying to the AAAC? I feel like he would fit a couple of the open positions.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it. That's actually an interesting question. We should breach that.
For the academia
I can ask him.
Yeah, there's at least an academia one, and I thought maybe there was something else that sort of fit his position, but definitely that one.
Yeah, so, it's a good thought.
It is
It'd be a good ad.
So. Yeah, really surprised that they've been those open positions for so long, but I don't know what the holdup is.
Yeah, they got Secretary of Transportation approval to change the name, expand the number of people, and then they leave the vacancies. It's like,
yeah, you'd think if you were the Secretary of Transportation, you're like, you guys are just wasting my time. Why'd I approve this?
Yeah, you jammed me up on approving this, and now you sit for almost a year with these opens.
Very frustrating.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
All right. Anybody else got anything to round us out for the evening? Any races going on, Alex?
I have 2 this weekend.
Yeah. What are you going to?
Neat.
Global qualifier in New Jersey, and then a just normal fun race in Central Pennsylvania.
Nice. Well, again, congratulations on your second place
Second
win.
place win in
Awesome. We were actually bragging
multi-GPIO.
about you a lot this weekend, so
And you
go
were on
you.
that news story.
I know.
Yep. My local paper
There
wrote
you go.
about the collegiate race.
That's
Collegiate.
awesome. So
Very nice.
keep it up, man. Keep it up. All right. So with that, I think I'll let y'all go for the evening. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know we talked a lot. I apologize. Normally we want to do definitely some more feedback, but we just had a lot to get through today. But do appreciate you guys for joining, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.